Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. When you hear a seasoned NFL veteran like Terron Armstead make a comparison between Tua Tagovailoa and a legend like Drew Brees, your ears perk up. This isn't just locker room banter or a former teammate tossing around compliments. This is a five-time Pro Bowler, a player who's protected the blind sides of the vastly different but equally precise quarterbacks, offering his raw, unfiltered belief in Miami's franchise cornerstone. On ESPN's unsportsmanlike radio show, Armstead didn't hesitate. When asked why Dolphins fans should believe in Tua as the long-term answer, he dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the NFL world. "I've seen him snap into a mode that looks familiar to me from Drew Brees," Armstead said. That's not light praise, it's a declaration that Tua has something special. Not just talent, but that cold, calculated sniper mode that turns good quarterbacks into champions. That kind of confidence, coming from a guy like Armstead, demands attention. But let's slow down and unpack what this really means. Drew Brees isn't just any quarterback, he's a Hall of Famer, a Super Bowl champion, a surgeon on the field. Brees was a master of timing, of reading defenses pre-snap, of delivering the ball with such precision that it almost looked routine. If Armstead sees those same qualities in Tua, that's not just an endorsement, it's a proclamation. And Tua has shown flashes of brilliance, no doubt. He led the league in passing yards in 2023, and then followed that up by leading in completion percentage in 2024. These aren't fluke stats. They're signs of a quarterback who is evolving, refining, and perhaps most importantly proving people wrong. Because let's be honest, Tua has had his fair share of doubters. From injuries to questions about arm strength to people wondering if he was the right fit for Mike McDaniel's offense, he's heard it all. What's most striking about Armstead's comparison is the emphasis on mode. That killer instinct. That moment when a quarterback flips the mental switch and everything slows down. It's not about arm strength or highlight plays. It's about command. It's about taking control of a game in a way that silences doubt and rattles defenses. According to Armstead, Tua has that gear. The problem, as he pointed out, is consistency. We've seen Tua play like a top 5 quarterback, especially when everything's clicking, but the NFL is a war of attrition. You don't get extra credit for moments, you get rings for seasons. That's where durability, repetition, and mental toughness come into play. Can Tua maintain that assassin mode over 17 games and into the playoffs? That's the million-dollar question, or maybe, in Tua's case, the $50 million per year question. Still, Armstead didn't stop there. His faith in Tua was just part of a much bigger statement, a bold prediction that the Miami Dolphins could be legitimate contenders in 2025 if they can stay healthy. That's a massive if, but one that could shift the entire balance of the AFC. Armstead brought up 3 names in particular: Tua, Bradley Chubb, and Yellen Phillips. According to him, their health is the key to unlocking Miami's true potential, and then he added a 4th piece: rookie edge rusher Chop Robinson. If you're a Dolphins fan, hearing a guy like Armstead say there's no limit to what this team can achieve if those pieces are on the field should send chills down your spine. This isn't hype, this is belief rooted in experience. Let's not forget who Terron Armstead is in this conversation. He's not some analyst on TV throwing around hot takes for views. He's a 13-year NFL veteran, someone who's gone to battle in the trenches, someone who's felt the pulse of elite offenses. He spent 7 years protecting Drew Brees during the Saints' most consistent era of offensive excellence. He knows exactly what greatness looks like, what it feels like in the huddle, and what it means to have a quarterback you'd run through a wall for. Then, in the twilight of his career, he came to Miami and watched Tua up close, not just during games, but in practice, in meetings, in the weight room. So when he says he sees Brees in Tua, it hits different. It carries weight that goes beyond the stat sheet. And speaking of stats, let's take a closer look at what Tua's accomplished, because numbers don't lie. He's the only quarterback in the NFL to post a passer rating over 100 in each of the last 3 seasons. That level of efficiency is rare in a league where defenses are faster, smarter, and more complex than ever. Tua has maintained a level of accuracy and decision-making that stacks up with the best. Yet, the national conversation around him has always been a little too quiet, a little too skeptical. Maybe it's the injuries. Maybe it's the shadow of Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow from that 2020 draft class. But maybe, just maybe, It's time to start talking about Tua in the tier he deserves to be in, especially if 2025 becomes the breakout season Armstead is predicting. Now let's shift focus to that defense, because Armstead's comments weren't just about Tua. He made it clear the Dolphins' entire season could hinge on getting Chubb and Phillips back to full strength and adding rookie Phenom Chop Robinson to the mix. When healthy, Chubb is a relentless force off the edge, and Phillips is one of the most explosive young pass rushers in the league. Robinson brings raw power and untapped potential. If all three are on the field together, Miami's front seven becomes a nightmare. That trio could cause chaos, collapse pockets, and force turnovers at a rate we haven't seen from a Dolphins defense in years. Combine that with an offense led by a healthy, confident Tua, and suddenly Miami doesn't just look like a playoff team. They look like a Super Bowl threat, of course. Staying healthy is the hardest part of the NFL equation. The Dolphins know that better than most. They've dealt with a carousel of injuries the past few years, and every time it felt like they were gaining momentum, someone went down. But as of now, heading into training camp, things are different. Everyone's healthy. The vibes are good. The belief is real. And with voices like Armstead vouching for the leadership and potential inside that locker room, it feels like something is building, something special. You can almost sense that Miami knows its window is opening and the time to capitalize is now. They're not rebuilding, they're ready. So what does it all come down to? According to Armstead, it's simple. Keep Tua upright, keep your stars healthy, and let the chips fall where they may. That's the formula, and if they can execute it. Armstead sees no ceiling, there's no limit. He said, let that sink in. That's not just belief, that's conviction, from a guy who's played with the best, who's seen championship DNA firsthand. If he sees it in Tua and this Dolphin squad, maybe it's time the rest of the league took notice. Because 2025 might just be the year Miami finally delivers on all the promise, and when they do, you better believe Terron Armstead will be smiling from the sideline, saying, I told you so. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? All right, folks. Brace yourselves, because the rumor mill in the NFL world is swirling like never before. Word on the street is that the Miami Dolphins might be gearing up to pull off a blockbuster trade, sending a massive package to snag one of the league's premier cornerbacks, Patrick Surtain. Now, imagine this. The Dolphins, known for their aggressive moves, reportedly ready to part ways with some serious talent, including none other than Ramsey, the defensive powerhouse, and Jonnu Smith, their versatile tight end. Could this be the dawn of a new era in Miami? Or just smoke and mirrors? The buzz is growing louder every day, and fans are on edge, waiting to see if this blockbuster deal will actually go down. The intrigue deepens when you consider the magnitude of such a trade. Patrick Surtain, who has been turning heads with his lockdown coverage and athleticism, would instantly bolster the Dolphins' secondary. Miami's defense has shown flashes of brilliance, but has lacked that true shutdown corner. Adding Surtain would not only elevate their pass defense but send a clear message to the rest of the league. The Dolphins are in win-now mode. On the flip side, giving up a star like Ramsey, arguably one of the most dominant corners in the NFL, and a reliable tight end like Jonnu Smith is no small price to pay. This trade could shake up the AFC East and redefine Miami's defensive identity. Now, let's unpack the players involved here. Ramsey has been a cornerstone of the Dolphins' defense since arriving. Known for his fierce competitiveness and lockdown skills, his leadership both on and off the field has been invaluable. Meanwhile, Jonnu Smith brings a dynamic presence in the passing game, offering versatility as both a blocker and a receiver. Letting go of these two players signals a major shift in Miami's roster strategy, one that suggests the front office is prioritizing long-term defensive dominance over current offensive stability. Could the Dolphins be betting big on Surtain's potential to outshine Ramsey's proven excellence? From the other side of this potential deal, acquiring Ramsey and Smith would be a massive coup for the team. Trading Surtain, they would be getting an elite cornerback with a proven track record and a tight end capable of changing offensive schemes. This trade would shake the very foundations of both teams involved, altering their schemes, game plans, and locker room dynamics. Fans are speculating wildly about which team might be willing to part with Surtain. Given his rising stardom and young age, it's the kind of move that could set off a chain reaction of trades across the league as teams scramble to adjust. The timing of this rumor also adds fuel to the fire, with the NFL offseason in full swing and teams maneuvering to fill gaps before the draft. Whispers of such a high-profile swap are impossible to ignore. Miami's front office has been known to make bold moves, so it's not out of character to see them considering such a shakeup. Sources close to the situation suggest conversations are already underway behind closed doors. Of course, nothing is official yet, but the possibility alone has created a frenzy of speculation, with fans and analysts alike dissecting every tweet and report for clues. One can't help but wonder about the financial implications of such a trade. Salary cap considerations would be front and center, as moving to players with substantial contracts for one could free up valuable space or create new challenges. The Dolphins would need to balance the immediate impact of acquiring Surtain with the long-term sustainability of their roster. Conversely, the team receiving Ramsey and Smith would need to ensure they can accommodate the incoming contracts while maintaining depth. This financial chess game adds another layer of complexity to the rumor, making it as much about strategy off the field as on it. There's also the fan reaction to consider. Dolphin supporters are known for their passion and loyalty, but trading away Ramsey and Smith could be a tough pill to swallow. Both players have built strong connections with the fan base, and their departures would mark the end of an era. On the other hand, landing Surtain could inject new hope and excitement, especially if he lives up to the hype as a game-changer in the secondary. The emotional roller coaster this rumor is causing among fans only adds to the intensity surrounding the potential deal. From a coaching perspective, this trade rumor presents fascinating tactical possibilities. Head coach Mike McDaniel and his staff would have to rethink defensive schemes around certain style of play, while potentially adapting offensive strategies without Jonnu Smith. Meanwhile, the team acquiring Ramsey and Smith would gain new options to bolster their defense and offense, forcing their coaches to integrate these high-profile players quickly. The ripple effects on game planning and player roles could be immense, potentially changing the way both teams approach the upcoming season. While nothing is set in stone yet, the mere talk of this trade has already shifted narratives across the league. Pundits are debating whether Miami can afford to lose Ramsey's leadership and Smith's offensive versatility for Surtain's defensive prowess. Some see it as a brilliant gamble, others as a risky move that could backfire. As the offseason progresses, the tension will only build, with every development scrutinized under the microscope. Could this be the trade that defines Miami's season, or just a wild rumor that never materializes? Only time will tell. For now, all eyes remain glued to the rumor mill, waiting for confirmation or denial from the teams involved. The NFL offseason is never dull, but this potential blockbuster trade stands out as one of the most intriguing stories yet. Will the Dolphins really send a big package including Ramsey and Jonnu Smith to land Patrick Surtain? 2. The possibility alone has sparked endless debates and wild speculation. So, if you're a football fan craving drama and excitement, this rumor is your front row ticket. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over, and the next twist could be just around the corner. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!